So as we're laying here, let's allow a couple of really good breaths. So huge inhale. And just a long, slow, relaxed exhale. One thing about getting stressed is that if you were to measure how many breaths we take per minute, when we're stressed, that number of breaths per minute tends to increase. We tend to take something like 10 to 20 breaths, depending on exactly how we're feeling. And that's actually exactly the opposite that we need to do to calm things down. So purposely taking really long, slow breaths is starting to slow our system down. It's like that rest and digest state. And so in doing that, we're naturally helping our body out, just a nice energetic boost. So as you continue for a few moments here, taking these long, deep inhales and just very long, relaxed exhales, I'll start to connect us with our intention for today. This intention comes from a book that I read recently, and I love this book. It was recommended to me by a really dear friend as kind of one of those books that completely changes your outlook for life. And so this book is called Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and it's about this seagull. And it goes into kind of a really fun fictional story of everything that the seagull goes through. But kind of the premise, the good introduction for this class, is that the seagull, the whole group, the herd of seagulls, the only time they would fly was just the minimal amount that they needed to go fly out, get their food, and then come back, and they would just go on the shore. And you know, the flying, they technically did it, but it was a very, very minimal amount. And so Jonathan, one of these seagulls, decided that he really, really enjoys the act of flying and that he feels so open and so free. And so rather than just doing that flight a couple of times a day, the minimal amount required, instead of that, he started to practice flying. And sometimes he would even miss some of the meals because he was just enjoying himself flying, and he would play around with it, trying to really explore what is the maximum potential that he has. You know, how fast can I go? How many loops can I go? If I were to dive toward the water, how far away do I have to kind of curve my bank so that I don't crash into the water? And so many questions, so many experiments, and constantly trying to push the boundaries. And really what this book taught was just that difference between the normal seagulls that, you know, didn't want to do the work, didn't really want to fly. They just kind of did the minimal amount required to live, versus the seagull that was really trying to explore its entire potential. And so that's kind of what our class is about our human potential, and how often do we let ourselves be caught in a rut just doing that minimal amount required, instead of really playing with our creativity, really letting ourselves try to find freedom in whatever capacity we have to really explore and to find out, you know, what is my body capable of? What can it do? And what type of inventions can I create in this life? And all sorts of questions like that. And so that's kind of our inspiration that will lead us into our practice. So some of the different parts of our practice today will look like a flying seagull to kind of remind us of that story of living our full true potential. But just the idea is we're trying to constantly stretch through our boundaries and kind of just explore, where do I end? Does the not me begin? And how much can I stretch my boundary? And so with that idea to lead us into our class today, let's start off taking the knees inward. A hand can go on each knee, and take a moment to explore the boundaries of the hips and the sacrum. Just a couple of good breaths. Checking in with that low back. How is it feeling? And we're going to start to release this left leg. Let it just relax long on the ground. Once it's there, clasp hands around the right knee and start to pull this right knee into the shoulder. It's like we're trying to explore the boundaries. How close can I get the knee to the shoulder? So pause, just a couple of breaths at whatever depth is available. Try to keep some energy in the second leg, that left one, so that it's not kind of rising up with us. Instead, it's staying very solid, very rooted. And so from here, let's begin to explore the boundaries on this right knee. Let the knee open wide into the right hand. And when it lifts up, take the left hand, that knee into the left hand, and start to head to a partial twist, kind of exploring the hip. And so take a few rounds of that, opening wide to the right for a moment. No need to rush it too much. Eventually crossing over, going toward that partial twist. Let's take maybe 2 more of those. The goal is to really tune into the muscle groups all around the thigh and the hips. And so it's almost like if we were to close our eyes, we're learning about our anatomy based on how the movements feel. So this last time that we're crossing over the body, we'll stay just enjoying the twist. And let this twist be less about forcing the knee to be in any particular spot, and let it be more about how much can I explore my back space? How can I readjust the twist so that the muscles of my back are stretching to their very best capacity? Nothing painful, nothing kind of forcing the bones, but instead think of the muscles of the back trying to expand. And that's the type of twist that we're searching for. Another good inhale. And exhale, let the hip return to the ground. Slide this right leg long and feel how different that right side is after we've explored. So once that's down, bring left knee in, give it a good hug. We're trying to pull that left knee in as close to the shoulder as it's willing to travel easily. We're not hurting any bones, but we're definitely exploring boundaries. And let's start to take those rounds, opening the knee wide to left. And then partial twist, kind of crossing over the body, feel the hip and the thigh. And just continue a few rounds like that. It's like we're being very curious about the body. So this last time that we're crossing over, this one will stay in that twist. Remember, this is about the muscles of the back trying to really open. So set up the stretch in a twist in a really good way that opens up the back. Good. This time, when we're starting to ease out of it, let's allow legs to straighten up to the sky, give them a chance to really elongate. Maybe this is the first deep hamstring moment of the entire day so far, so give it a breath. And then we're going to take happy baby pose, purposely exploring through any sorts of boundaries. So this could be boundaries of the back. Maybe you're just rocking left and right. Maybe you're starting to stretch one leg straight up to the sky, and then you move into the second leg. And so be playful about this, trying to see, okay, where do I begin? Where do I end? What are my boundaries like? What's possible here? So one more good breath with whatever's working for your body. Good. And then as we start to release, we've got one more twist, or one more stretch rather. We're going to take the right ankle onto the left thigh and then hug around that left side. This gets our right hip up into a really good chance to start stretching. And then releasing that side, take the same to the second. So left ankle up. Take one more breath into the body. And then exhale. When we release, we'll start working our way up toward a seated position, maybe 3 or 4 rolling like a ball cycles. If that doesn't feel too good, that's okay. We'll just come up eventually to a cobbler. Otherwise, maybe 1 or 2 more. Good. And then when we're up, bottoms of feet together. Start to release forward, trying to explore the boundaries that are easeful here, nothing forceful. But just see what's possible. And just notice where that first edge is, because we're going to play with it for a few moments here. So we'll see if eventually the edge gets a little bit deeper. Finding the hands on the ground, start to walk the hands forward. This is where we're going to start exploring. And then gradually start to walk your hands over to one side. So I'm starting off to the right. And just without needing to lift the chest up at all, with still reaching forward, see how far to the right you can go with both hands on the ground. And gradually make your way back forward. Same thing to the second side. Make it nice and easy. Then when we make our way back forward, here we're going to add a little bit more motion, just a little bit more speed. The hands are welcome to be on the ground, kind of sliding with us left and right. So we slide both hands around to circle over toward the right side, and then circle over toward the left side. Just kind of continuously exploring the boundaries. Helping the back, if the back needs to pause on each side for a moment to kind of readjust, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, maybe once more to each side. And then go through the center and pause one more time just to notice if our edge has changed. Maybe it's a little bit easier to go deeper here. Good. Rising back up. The feet can stay here if it's easeful to like, sit up tall here. If there's any sort of rounding backwards, just go to a normal seated cross-leg position instead. But we're going to find the right hand on the ground to the right side. Left hand reaches up, and we start to reach over. Make sure the hips don't come with us. But it's like we're trying to explore the boundaries. How far can we reach to this direction? And then start to circle up, taking it over to the left, exploring this boundary. How much is that shoulder capable of right at this moment? Good, and then 2 times to each, a little bit faster. So over to the right, lean, over to the left, and once more each. Beautiful. Coming back up, just a couple of breaths, opening the legs out wide. This can either be with stillness as we slide the hands forward, or if you'd like to add in kind of similar swaying left and right that we did a moment ago, that could be fine too. Just depends on what your preference is here, what feels best through the legs. So 2 more breaths or so. As we finish that second breath, let's make our way onto hands and knees. As we start to head towards some cat-cow-like motions, this can just be simply up and down the whole time that we're here. But this is about exploring our boundaries also. Like, what is it that I'm capable of at this moment? So if there's moments where you want to go left and right with the ribs, or you want to take a circle, or just have other free form movements, know that that's absolutely going to be okay. Just find any edges that you think that you have and see how fluid the edges really are. One more breath cycle. And then when the spine's back to stillness, we're going to lift the left knee up, and this left knee is going to trace the biggest circle that it can. So pick one direction and take 3 circles. 3, 2, 1, and then reverse that circle. 3, 2, 1. Same thing to the right knee. 3, 2, 1, and reverse. 3, 2, 1. Very good. Walking the hands forward, we're in a kneeling plank. We're going to practice a couple of rounds of push-ups. So if you'd like to lift up to full plank, that is okay, your choice. Either way, keep the elbows squeezed in so they're pointing backwards instead of wide. So start to lower down to a controllable point and then press up. Just 4 more. Keep on breathing. 3, 2, and 1. Good. Lowering down to the ground. Now let the hands hover. The feet are going to stay glued to the ground. And with the hands hovering, we're trying to muscularly lift the shoulders up off the ground. So it's like a floating cobra. So take a few more breaths, feel those back muscles starting to engage. And inhale. Exhale, drop the hands down. Shift that, just 2 or 3 breaths with child's pose. When you feel ready for a downward facing dog, tuck the toes, lift the hips. Maybe small little movements, left and right, kind of easing into the muscles. And this will be one of those down dogs that you can stay here a bit longer, or if at any point your wrists or anything else feels tired, you're welcome to head up to the top of the mat to a standing forward fold. Good, so making your way up. As we're here, leave the right hand down on the floor or on a leg. Left hand will twist up to the sky for a moment. And drop it down. Second hand reaches up. It's like we're trying to explore our boundaries here. How far can I reach? So 1 more each side. Good, take 1 more inhale. Exhale. And inhale to rise. Good. Hands to heart. So here we're going to play with a setup that I'm going to continue to repeat a couple of times through class. So this will kind of be our way to explore with what exactly it feels like in our body. So with this first side, we're going to leave the right foot forward. The left foot steps back, but it crosses off the mat on the right side. So left foot is like crossing off that right side. So the stance isn't with the legs isn't necessarily any particular shape. Like the front knee could be bent, the back knee could be bent. It's kind of whatever works for your body. But the important part is what we're doing up above us. So reaching up to the sky, grab onto left wrist and continue to pull that left wrist to the right. So that's why the legs, it doesn't matter exactly how they look, but if you feel the side ribs and the shoulder starting to open, then you're doing it right. So it doesn't matter how wide it is or how far back you're stepping. It's just a good place of balance where you can get that good side body stretch. So now gently release that side and let's find the second. So now left foot stays up at the top, right foot goes back and crosses off to that left side. Reaching up, grab onto right wrist, and then the right wrist gets pulled to the left. So now it's the right ribs that are starting to stretch open. Good. Let's release and gently step up. So here I'm going to show you the way in which we're oftentimes going to be flowing into that particular shape. So we start off the hands at the heart. Let the left knee float in front of you like a 90-degree angle. And then as that left leg kicks back behind you, open the arms like airplane arms. And this is that pose I promised you that kind of feels like a seagull flying. So now as we're coming up, land that left foot off the right side to that pose that we just practiced. Reach arms up to the sky, grabbing onto left wrist, lean to the right. Good, release the torso. End up in that warrior 3 airplane arms flying pose. And then that left knee is gonna come up in front of us. Let it float for a moment and drop it down. Good, so same thing to the other side. Right knee floats for a moment. Kick it back, the arms fly. And then gently land. That right foot's off the left side. Reaching up, grab right wrist, lean to the left. Good, open back to flight. And then this right knee will come up in front of us. And drop that foot down. Very good. Let's circle the arms up to the sky. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, sliding hands down. Step back to plank pose. From plank, we're going to lift the right foot up and down 3 times. So 3, 2, 1. Now bring that right foot to touch the back of the left heel and hold in this plank. 3, 2, 1. Right foot down, now left foot pulses. 3, 2, 1. And then bring the left foot on the back of the right heel. Holding in plank. 3, 2, 1. Good, the feet relax into normal plank. Shift forward to lower chaturanga. Take the back bend as deep as you want to. Maybe it's still a baby cobra. Maybe you're ready to go a little bit deeper. And you can take a little bit of time in child pose, or if you're ready for down dog, go ahead and go directly up into it. Good. From here, start to float the right leg up to the sky. Feel it reach. And then from here, take the right knee to the nose and hold. Right leg back up to the sky. And then right foot steps in between hands, back heel down. We float the arms up to the sky, a nice warrior one. Shifting our weight onto that front right leg, take that flying seagull pose. When we land, the left foot crosses off the right side, arms float up. Grab the left wrist, lean to the right. Good, gently release. Back to seagull, flying warrior 3. And left knee comes up, floating in front of us. Fly back through warrior 3. And gently land the foot, warrior 1, arms sweep up to the sky. From this warrior 1, we're going to rotate the arms into a twist to the right side. So left arm goes in front of us, right arm goes behind us, and we're trying to explore our boundaries of human possibility to this right side. Inhale, start to circle the arms back up. And then exhale, rotate to the second side, warrior 2. So this is this right knee bent nice and strong. Extended side angle, so front elbow rests down. The other arm starts to stretch forward. If you're up for a challenge today, you could take this right arm and also float it to that forward angle. You don't have to though, you're welcome to keep it rested. This is just a challenge if you're up for it. Good, opening to warrior 2. Let's reverse it out, so back hand to back leg. That left hand just resting down, right hand up to sky. And returning up, straighten the front leg. Triangle pose, reach forward. And then drop the right hand to the shin, left hand up to sky. Good, rising up to warrior 2 for a moment so that we can head to half moon pose. Sometimes I shorten the stance a little bit, and then I cartwheel the hand down, so right hand to outside of right foot. And then the other hip, this left hip and the left shoulder are trying to stack directly on top of one another. We've got 3, 2, 1, and then left hand and left foot just land down. We're in that nice standing forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant the hands down, travel back to the plank. Right heel lifts up and down 3 times. 3, 2, 1. Land the right foot on the left heel. Try to do 1 push-up. Squeeze the elbows in and then press our way up. Good. Right foot plants. Left heel lifts. 3, 2, 1. Land the foot on top of the right heel. Trying to go for 1 push-up. Good. Release. Lower chaturanga. Back bend of your choice. And child pose or down dog. Okay, let's start to float the left foot up to the sky. Reach it high. Try to explore the boundaries there. How high am I actually capable of reaching? Take knee to the nose and hold. Good, reach that leg back up high. And then step left foot in between hands. Back heel down for a moment as we float the arms up to the sky. And then arms open like the airplane direction. Start to bring your weight over the front leg. Then we're launching into flight. Cross that right foot off the left edge, gently land the foot. Arms up above us, grabbing right wrist, lean that wrist to the left. And release back to flight. Right knee is brought in front of us, trying to float it. Okay, back to the flight. And then landing that right foot to warrior one, arms reach up to the sky. Heading to the twist, explore your boundaries. Right arm goes to the space in front of you, left arm behind you. Good, back up to the sky. And then open up warrior two. Extended side angle, you can go for the rested version, and then top arms reaching to the angle, or the active version, both arms reaching to that forward angle. Good, open up warrior two, and then reverse it. That right hand to the right leg, left hand up to sky, maybe even reaching a little bit backwards. And rising up, straighten the front leg, and here we're taking triangle. So reach forward, and then drop the left hand to shin, right hand to sky. Coming up, we soften the front knee, maybe shorten stance for that half moon pose. Cartwheel the left hand down, float the right hip and the right arm. Good inhale. Exhale, release, dropping down, kind of dangling, release down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, planting the hands, travel back to plank. Right heel lifts up and down, 3, 2, 1. Land the foot on top of the other. Your choice, 1 to 3 push-ups. And then switching feet, left foot up, 3, 2, 1. Leave the foot on top of the other. 1 to 3 push-ups. Good, release, lower chaturanga. Back bend of your choice. And child's pose or down dog. Beautiful, float the right leg up to the sky. Bring that right knee to the nose. Start to twist the knee to the left and then straighten that right leg to the left. So it's the razor blade edge of the foot set on the ground. It's a straight right leg to that left side. Maybe left hand can even float upward for a moment. Almost like a side plank variation. Good, hand can go back down. Unwind the legs, floating right leg up to sky. Step right foot in between hands. And from here, we're going straight to flight. So gently bring your weight onto right leg. Everything else flies like the eagle, like that seagull. Good. Land the left foot off the right edge of the mat. Reach arms up, grabbing left wrist, and lean to the right. Back to flight. And bring this right knee up in front of us. Bring it back to flight. And as we gently land that foot behind us, we're going to come into a twist. So left elbow hooks on right thigh. Unwinding from this, so reach the arms up to the sky. We're facing toward that left long edge of the mat. The toes are turning forward. And bring hands to the hips. Start to take that wide angle forward fold. You choose the arm position today. Maybe hands are at the calves. Maybe you're reaching through your legs. You've got lots of options here. Just explore, how deep can I release my hamstrings into this stretch? Okay, walking hands up to the top of your mat. We'll step this right leg back, float it high to the sky, three-legged dog. And then the right knee bends so that the toes are behind us. This is a good stopping spot if you like this stretch. You could continue to flip into wild things. So right foot lands to the ground behind us, flip the hips up. If you're easily coming to this place, you could play with kind of an intermediate spot where we're lifting that right foot back up and then the right hand is behind the head. So it's kind of like a balancing back bend plank. Good. Unwind, right hand down. Right foot floats up to sky. And then right foot drops down to ground. Here we'll start to play with second side. So left foot floats for a moment. Left knee to nose. Twist that left knee to the right, extend the leg, setting the side of the foot down. Maybe stay here or maybe right hand up to sky. Good, right hand down, unwind the leg, kicking left foot back up high. Left foot steps in between hands. Once you're there, we transfer all of our weight to balance on that left foot. We're flying like the seagull. Beautiful. Gently landing left foot off to that, right foot off to that left edge. Reaching up, grab right wrist and lean over to left. Good, unwind back to flight. Slow this right knee in front of us. And then kicking back to flight. When you gently land that right foot, head into the twist. So this time right elbow hooks to left thigh. Maybe hands to prayer position. Good, gently unwinding. Like a big star pose, we're rotating our feet to this long edge of the mat. And then hands to the hips. Start to aim to this side, a wide angle forward fold, traveling downward. Choose that favorite arm position for this side. Good, hands to floor, start to walk the hands up to top of the mat. This left foot will float up to the sky. Bend the knee so the toes are starting to aim for the space behind you. This is an okay space to stop. Option 2 would be to go to wild thing, land that foot behind, flip the hips, take the back bend. Option 3 is that kind of back bend plank, where we're lifting the foot to balance off the ground, left hand is behind the head. Good. Landing the hand, return up, maybe float that left leg foot up high for one more moment. And landing that foot down for a normal downward facing dog. Take another good breath in and out. Gradually walking our way up to the top of the mat, standing forward fold. Good. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart. One more little series of standing balance challenges. And so here, take a moment, hands to heart, recenter yourself. Imagine you're that bird trying to really explore all your possibilities. What sorts of twists and dives and speed can you get here? And so we start off standing on the left foot. We're going to start heading toward eagle's pose. So both knees sit back, both knees bend as we sit back like a chair. Right thigh crosses over. This could be a single wrap just at the thighs. It could be a double wrap, trying to wrap the toes. Right elbow tries to wrap under left for full eagle. Maybe we try to squat down just a little bit. Maybe the elbows can touch the thighs, maybe not. And as we start to come back up, unwind the legs. We've got this right knee floating in front of us. Kick it back to flight, open the arms to flight. Good, landing that right foot off the left edge, reach up to sky, grabbing right wrist, lean to left. Good, opening the arms back out, travel to flight. Your arms can stay open or drop to floor. We do a little squat where we take that right knee and touch the back of the left knee and then extend back out. 2 more of those squats. Out and 1. Good. One more time, floating that right knee in front of us. Once it's there, take this right ankle to left thigh. Bend standing leg again. Hands can rest on on ankle and knee. Or maybe you slide down to elbows resting on those spots. Or maybe fingers to floor. Starting to let the breath slow down. We're heading toward the end of these challenges. And as we start to release this front foot, this right foot crosses in front of the left foot. So this gives us a nice IT band stretch through that left side. You can uncross your feet now or wait till you're standing all the way up. Either way, bend your knees and roll your spine up. The feet are back to normal. Got one more side with that challenge. So shake anything out if you need it. Recenter back to a nice spot. Just ready to explore the possibilities. It's okay if we fall. It's okay if we fail. That's how we learn what we are capable of. So bending your knees, set the hips back like the chair. When you're ready, shift your weight into right so that left thigh can cross over. Single wrap or double wrap. Maybe left elbow under. In the eagle's pose, maybe you're about as steady as you can get. Maybe you try to sink down, trying to get the elbows to touch the thigh. And then floating back up from there, unwind just the leg, floating that left knee in front. Kick back to flight. Now unwind the arms. Good. Left foot crosses to the right side, reach up to sky, grab right hand onto left wrist, and then lean to the right. Good. Unwind back to flight. This is the one where you can keep the arms up or maybe fingers touch the ground as you do those 3 squats. Left knee touches the back of the right knee and extend back out. 2 and 1. Good, and then rising up from flight, this left knee's floating in front. Take that left ankle onto right thigh and start to bend the standing leg, sending the hips back. Maybe hands can rest down. Maybe you slide down to the elbows, or maybe you can reach hands to the floor. Good. Dropping this foot in front of the other, pinky toes are close together. The rest of our body is relaxing forward. This is that stretch for the back leg, the right one. Know that if you can hyperextend the leg, purposely make that right one be a little bit bent. But if that's not a possibility in your body, just let it reach long. Good. Uncross the feet now or later, and then roll our way up. Good. Take one more back bend, reaching up to sky. A nice back stretch. And then as hands come to heart, we're going to head toward a crow pose. So flying in a new way. So the feet go a little bit wider. We go down to a low squat so that hands can plant in front of us. Hands are about as wide as the shoulders. Fingers are spread wide. And make sure every single fingertip, every joint, every knuckle is pushing into the ground for a nice solid base. Some days, this is all we're playing with, is trying to bring a little bit of weight forward and then rocking it back. If you're ready for even more, the knees can try to go up to the triceps. And maybe this is where you pause, kind of rocking with a little bit of weight forward. Some days we're brave and we're ready to fly. Maybe one set of toes lifts. Maybe second set of toes lifts, even just for a moment. Keep that gaze about a foot in front of your hands. It's right in front of your face on the floor. That'll keep you nice and steady so you don't do a nice face sag. Good, maybe one more time. You can always take a break and roll the wrists for a moment. One more little attempt. Good, and then when we're out, step the feet back to plank. Let's lower chaturanga. Good, walk the hands wider than the mat at about that shoulder height. And then we press into kind of like a half cobra. So we're pressing up just a little bit. This will help us to rotate the right shoulder forward and then drop that right shoulder down. A nice little twist for the shoulder. Good. Pressing up, unwind, left shoulder to the twist. Good. Unwind, lower down. Slide the hands in under the shoulders. Press back to maybe deeper cobra. And then sit the hips all the way back, relaxing all the way into child pose. The wrists need some attention still. Maybe your elbows are on the ground and the hands are floating, either rolling the wrists or clasping the hands to kind of roll it out. With one more breath, revisiting that slowing of the breath, try to take this last breath here super slow. Deep inhale. And force the exhale to be really long. Good. Rising up, we're continuing to try to slow down and lower the breaths per minute. So from here, let's come to a comfortable seated place. We're going to cradle the right shin out. So some people grab the one hand to the foot, one hand to the knee. Some people go a little bit deeper to forearm or all the way to the elbows. When you're there, spine up tall and rock that hip out. When this hip starts to feel happy, try to drop this right shin directly on top of left shin. If that's not working in the hips, bring it to simple cross leg instead. And then spine tall, start to lean forward until fingers are on ground, and then continue to walk forward. Breath slowing down. We're feeling good and calm. Beautiful. Rising back up. We'll start to switch sides, so cradling out left. When you get there, posture's tall, then rock the hip. Keep on slowing down the breaths per minute. Good. The shin drops on top of the other. Posture tall, lean forward, fingers on the ground, and then continue to slide forward. Breathing deep into the glutes. Okay, when we ease our way up, let's begin to head onto our back nice and slow. So legs are in front of you, bent or straight. Let's try to lower down one vertebrae at a time. Once we've touched our way all the way down, if there's last movements your body would love, take them. Maybe windshield wipers with the knees, maybe a last twist to each side, maybe happy baby for one more moment, playing with all those directions that the legs can stretch. Keep on doing any of these movements and adjustments until your body feels completely ready for Shavasana, sooner or later. When you do get to that comfortable laying down position, let your mind consider perhaps for a moment all that we just went through. We traveled through a lot of challenging poses, lots of standing balance. Sometimes that's not the easiest. We did lots of strengthening, lots of stretching. So notice how your mind responded to the different challenges today. And there's nothing right or wrong, but if it's our habit through our whole life to always say no to challenges, perhaps we're like the normal seagulls, the ones that just want to do the minimal amount required and that's it. And so it's that question as we start to head to Shavasana, how much do I want to fly? And what does human flying look like? What is that range of possibilities? How can I explore what I'm truly capable of? So let the inspiration of these types of questions lead us into the next couple of minutes of slow breaths per minute, calming down and letting the body receive this relaxation. So here begin to deepen inhales and exhales. Introduce little movements back to the body, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. And eventually rolling over to a nice fetal position on one side. Maybe another good breath or two until you feel ready to come up to a comfortable seated place sooner or later. Good. So as we're up, we'll join our hands in front of our hearts and let the inspiration of the seagull help us to travel forward into an amazing day and an amazing week. We ask ourselves, what is my true potential as a human? Where can I play with that amazing ability I have, similar to the seagull and its ability to fly? What is my strength? Where can I be more playful and creative with what I have and what I can do? So with these types of questions to help inspire us toward our amazing potential and our possibilities, we'll allow ourselves to travel forward, wrapping up this time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.